Man, this game is so fun, and I really want to make a video talking about it before the new version releases, but the only issue is, I still haven't played VIII or the Sky games even. Maybe there'll be enough time to play some of them before it releases fully and... Fuck. Releasing sometime this summer, VIII vs. Trails will finally have a full English release to PC, PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch, making it the first time this game has ever been translated officially. And this, to me, is extremely exciting, and is 100% something you should also be invested in if you're not already. As the name of the game suggests, the game is a crossover between Falcom's two biggest franchises, with the game including characters from the Sky trilogy for Trails, as well as characters from games up to VIII VII. When it comes to collaboration games, I usually find that it's interesting to see how they combine the ideas and themes of each series, both thematically and gameplay-wise. While VIII and Trails share similarities in terms of writing, they are drastically different in their gameplay, with VIII being primarily a hack and slash, while Trails is a turn-based RPG. Well, they decided to go down the VIII train for this game, having the gameplay largely built off the previous installment, VIII VII. This means for characters like Adol, he's mostly one-to-one with how he was in that game. However, rather than the usual dungeon crawling affair, we have more focused battles in either 1v1, 2v2s, or 4-for-alls. In terms of the actual gameplay, the game is very intuitive and simple to understand. You have 4 primary buttons, a jump and a roll, which function just as you expect. You can also dash if you tap the roll button while close to an enemy. This is useful as rolling actually has a stamina meter attached to it, as seen in this diamond. To avoid people from what I'm assuming is stalling out the timer, the stamina meter makes it so you can't roll around forever, so make sure you keep an eye on it. Next you have a guard that, if timed right, can block any attack. This means normal attacks, projectiles, and even supers are completely nullified by your guard. This gives the game a really interesting way of playing it, since, unlike other fighting games, you can't block attacks, which leads to you utilizing the stage around you a lot more. It makes spacing and your awareness for each stage really important, adding to just a touch of complexity in a really simple way. And then of course you have your offensive moves. Each character has a standard string that you can achieve by mashing, as well as an aerial and charge attack. Of course, these moves all vary drastically when it comes to what character you're playing, so already there's a ton of player expression even without going on to our next point. BAM! Special moves! Each character gets their own set of different special abilities to use within the games. These can range from combo extenders, big huge combo moves themselves, or projectiles. Each character has around 6 different special abilities, but you can only have 4 equipped at a time, but more on that later. Each special ability will have its own number next to it, and this correlates to the amount of meter you'll need to build in order to use them, with each diamond being worth around 10 points or so. After that, we have an energy blast, essentially working as your way of getting out of combos or pushing back opponents. You activate it by pushing all the face buttons down at once, however use it sparingly as it comes at the cost of your HP. Then of course, would it really be a fighting game without some crazy cool supers? Yes it would, but this game still has them. If you build up your meter here, you can activate a super. Again, the effects vary depending on what character, but these are usually massively damaging. And then finally, we get on to supports. These are probably the most diverse part of the game and can really change up your gameplay. Supports are basically buffs you can activate if your support meter is full, and oh my god, I'm just realizing how many different meters this game has now. Anyway, these supports have a bunch of different effects like buffing speed, damage, etc. But the coolest part about this is that they can include characters from a bunch of other Falcom series as well as VIII and Trails. So it really is a huge piece of fan service for any Falcom head out there. Though, I will say, the animations for these look kinda weird. Kinda reminding me of a certain Spider-Man image. But hey, with that out of the way, how exactly does the game feel in motion? Well, the game flows surprisingly nice. I think it does a good job of making combos feel fulfilling while not feeling like a complete TOD fest. I really enjoyed the movement of this game, everything just feels fluid, and I absolutely love how important the actual stages feel in this game. Not only for escaping or spacing, but also for destroying the environment to get different potions to help you get stronger. It's such a fun game just by itself, and this is all from me just playing in single player. I'm sure the game is going to be even better with some friends. So, with the game's mechanics out of the way, I actually want to take some time to talk about the overall system mechanics, since they're surprisingly important to the gameplay. When you start the game, you'll only have a small roster to pick from, and not only that, but your characters won't even have their full skill sets yet. So of course, this is where story mode comes in, and the story mode is not the important thing here. Listen, the game's gonna release soon, so I sure as hell ain't gonna spoil it for y'all. I've already done plot summaries to last a lifetime, so no, I won't be covering this story. However, the story mode itself is important, as this is where you'll primarily be leveling up your characters, as well as collecting and purchasing stuff. So it's pretty simple. You get a big ol' map, and you select your next fight. However, you also have access to a shop, and you can customize your character. It's here where you can find those skills that your character was missing out on, as well as upgrading your weapon, armor, skills, and buying different equipment that gives you different status effects. In my first playthrough, I found it kinda difficult to progress, and I assumed that that was just because I was bad at the game or that I had to grind. But if you keep on top of upgrading your abilities, as well as utilizing all the equips you can see, you'll be fine. Whenever you win a fight, you'll receive 3 things: money, XP, and BP. Now BP is really important because this is how you actually unlock characters in the game. You gain BP casually by playing, but to get the most bang out of your buck, you gotta grind out some story modes and arcade modes for characters before you even get a whiff of some of the later stuff. And if you want to know more about this and the game in general, I really recommend these amazing guides made by YouTuber Bigon. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, I'll be linking stuff in the description, so be sure to check it out. They put a lot of love into the stuff that they're doing, and I really hope that everyone actually picks up this game, so these videos are a perfect way to start. Alright, so to kind of wrap this up, I just want to reiterate something. This game is insanely fun. If you're a Trails or Ys fan, then you should definitely be trying this game out, and if you're not a fan of either of them, thanks for watching this far, I guess. But that reminds me of something. If I hadn't played Ys or the Sky games, then you're probably wondering why I even started playing this game in the first place, right? Well, that answer is simple. Like bananas. Thank you everyone for watching this video, and now's the part of the video where I chill out and ask you to subscribe. I also have a Patreon set up now that I'm trying to do YouTube more often, so any support is super appreciated. But regardless, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you later.